Hi guys, Brant here and welcome to another commentary video. Today we're going to be talking about RNG and Dead by Daylight and how to handle it, because I feel like RNG, despite being the aspect of the game that people seem to enjoy a lot and enjoy the most, happens to be a kind of a huge boogeyman for a lot of the DBD community, whether that be getting a terrible map, playing a survivor and getting faced with like a top 3 killer. Like there's a lot about DBD that can just go wrong and has nothing to do with you. I would even consider the builds that people bring into matches to be part of that RNG. Sometimes you're gonna get some goober who's running like a full altruism build. I'm running Will Make It and Botany. I'm running on my little med kit and healing people. And then you're gonna be running in the meta like Lithe, Adrenaline into Windows of Opportunity. Like you're gonna be running into people that run For the People, Buckle Up, and just like make your life miserable, for lack of a better term. Make your life miserable. But I consider that to be part of the RNG too. The point being is that there is a lot to DBD that can go wrong that, you know, you can't prepare for. It's just stuff that is just going to happen. You are just always predisposed to potentially getting a terrible map. You are always predisposed to getting a team with a lot of really nasty perks and builds. You are always predisposed to potentially, on the survivor side, facing a killer that is like top 3 and is going to play super sweaty, try to tunnel at 5 gens out of the gate. So the question comes back around to is like, what do we do in that situation? Because despite the fact that we like to talk up a lot how the RNG aspect of DBD is like the most fun thing, it often leads to most of our frustrations because, you know, when RNG is good, it's good. And when RNG is bad, it feels really bad. There's a whole other video I can make there about like the highs and lows of like games and how that's really important to a game's life cycle to have the highs and the lows. But that's a whole different video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the cure, the thing that is going to help you the most against RNG, and that is consistency. It's kind of funny with my YouTube. I do one of 3 things. I do the commentary thing, which is kind of what brought me to the dance. And then I have react content, which is kind of just like commentary, just live to somebody's content instead of having to like be like, well, so-and-so made a video about this topic and I want to give my take. But the last form of content that I do is match reviews. And the match reviews by far are like the series on the channel that does the least numbers. People don't seem to like that one too much, but the people that do watch it are very into it and very thankful for all the like tips and information that we give in there. And if you've never watched one of those match reviews, I'm not asking you to go do so. The point being is that the thing that we teach in the match reviews, the thing that is like the number one thing, the number one goal of the match reviews is to teach consistency. And the reason we teach consistency above all else is because that is your number one tool to deal with RNG. Let's imagine for a second that you load into DBD with a built-in drawback. Like you spawn in the match as killer and you just are perma-hindered like the entire game. Would it be hard to win that match? Absolutely. Absolutely. No matter what character you were, playing with perma-hindered would be terrible. Why am I asking you this? Why am I asking, would you ever play with perma-hindered in a match? Because of course you wouldn't, right? Well, then why would you intentionally leave consistency on the table and intentionally play worse and allow RNG to susceptibly take control over you? Because that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing if you are not playing as consistently as possible, is you are introducing a negative RNG aspect on your end every single game. If you choose to say hate a certain map like Larry's Memorial Institute, which is a very commonly hated map on both sides, if you choose not to learn that map fairly well, you are going to permanently be introducing a new negative RNG aspect that you just have not learned this map, you choose not to learn this map, and every time you go to this map, you're just going to have a worse time than on other maps. And that is entirely by your own decision, that is entirely by your own will that you decide to do that. The point being, if you're a little bit lost in the weeds in terms of like the point I'm trying to get to here, is that DBD will introduce enough RNG. You do not need to introduce any RNG of your own, whether that be not being very knowledgeable about your character, not being very knowledgeable about a map, not very knowledgeable about how to make a good build. Try to minimize as much of the RNG on your hand as possible by being as consistent as possible. Have good habits, have good play styles, know most of the maps, have good perk builds, know the character you are playing. Try to minimize your side of the RNG as much as possible. That way, literally the only thing affecting you after that is potentially a bad map, potentially really strong builds, potentially all of these other RNG aspects that could affect you. If you leave it to where the RNG is literally the only thing that could potentially screw you over and you have all your bases covered, it makes losing to these things way less hurtful, because it's not just, oh, okay, well, I lost and it's so stupid and this game's terrible. It's, oh, well, at least I did everything I could. It was literally because they brought a bunch of Gen Rush. It was literally because we were on Garden of Joy that I lost, because I did everything in my power to make the difference. I didn't play consistently. I didn't play poorly. I didn't bring a bad build. I wasn't very bad on this character. I covered my bases. So it's literally only the RNG that got me. And that puts you in a lot more happy and sustainable situation when it comes to playing Dead by Daylight, because it makes those very negative instances of RNG hit less hard. I think that's the point I wanted to get across today. Yeah, what do you guys think? How do you handle the RNG in Dead by Daylight? Let me know down in the comments below. That's gonna be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching, but I do upload daily, so I will see you tomorrow. If I do not, though, I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.